Yep. Okay, welcome back. It's another Tuesday, so we're back in studio at the 180 Shift podcast. My name is Ellie.
And I am Tara.
And welcome back. We're so glad to have you all. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't checked us out yet, go to our social media at 180shift.org, as well as, and just check out all of our social media through there. There should be a bunch of links to everything from X to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, I think. So
just everything.
All the 9 yards. Yeah, the whole entire thing. So, yeah, there we have it. And Tara, how have you been doing?
Oh, man. It's been crazy.
I know.
How about you?
Yeah, it's been crazy, trying to catch up with schoolwork too. And, it's interesting. Actually, I guess I can get a little more into this, but one of my friends told me just the other day, man, it sucks being an adult. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Because, one thing, you have one thing after another that comes up, and I think life doesn't ever get any slower. It just keeps going.
Yeah, but you learn to love it, I think. I think of when I was 14, I feared that. I feared becoming an adult because I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to be in charge of stuff and I'm not going to have the freedom of childhood. Well, I faced it, and then with that first of all, the responsibility after a while, it feels really good. It's very fulfilling. Yeah, it beats, childhood is wonderful, and your body has a way of experiencing it in such a intense way, like the bliss, But when you're an adult, though, and you have responsibilities, it's just it's extremely fulfilling. It gives me purpose. It gives me something to look forward to, and I'm in the race,
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's exciting to be involved with the real world. So.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things there, but yeah, that's just, some life from from people around me, and, all that
Tell her to wake up
so.
Earlier. It'll help. It'll change a lot.
Yeah, no, you'll be surprised. Most of them do wake up a lot earlier.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, they go to class, though, yeah.
Yeah, so.
They're still in the structure of okay.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. But anyways, we have another lovely guest joining us this week. Artin, do you want to just, sort of introduce yourself and kind of jump into it?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, ladies, for having me on this great, great show. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Artin Sodaify. I'm an attorney by trade. That usually doesn't get a standing applause, but I love my work. I'm really good at it. I believe that's what some of my clients say. I have my own law practice, and I specialize mainly in employment law. And beyond that, I also like giving back to the community by being more involved. And I was fortunate enough to be appointed as a Los Angeles County Commissioner. And that gives me great oversight and opportunity to learn about the many services this biggest county we have, LA County, 10 million people, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of opportunity to help people so long as we do it correctly, right? We're adept at it, and we take the right road.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough to be on that commission, a commission of many on LA County, to help make the recommendations to our Board of Supervisors to get things done, things done the right way. One thing I'd like to mention, one of the reasons I became an attorney was because I had an altruistic motive, and I still do. My initial purpose was to become an author, and I spent about 2 years of my life while tailing in my education at UCLA to learn about the mechanics of writing and what authorship can do. Can authorship instill passion and vigor in people for them to make change and make it the way that society needs it? And in my opinion, authorship being a great avenue, I thought to myself, well, why don't I take it up a notch, get into law? And then here I am as a lawyer.
Wow.
And all this feeds into my bigger ambition, of course, is, to help society. But in any way I can. So the county commissioner position helps me.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, before we kind of jump into everything else, do you want to do? Well, actually,
yeah, you guys do it. I already did it.
But
let's make it official, huh?
Yes, let's do this here. There you
Boba.
go. Yay!
It's Boba time.
You got it. Yeah.
That name.
No, okay. Last week I accidentally did that.
Yeah. Now I accidentally did it. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, there you go.
So that's so interesting. So yeah, you are actively fighting for LA. What are your goals for Los Angeles?
Yeah, so LA needs a lot of help and assistance in terms of first getting the right mental trajectory, right? The people of LA have to be on board with the overall shift that's going on in the society, in the United States, right? People are now into common sense politics. And common sense politics will be a great driver and move the most important, I believe, one of the most important cities and the biggest county of the U.S. in the right direction. And with President Trump in office, with his many great ideas and many policies that he espouses, he's going to be able to, he has already started this trend and bigger understanding that people are at a position now that they're tired of optics. They're tired of smokescreen politics. They're ready for what the U.S. can be and should be, right? I tell this story to my friends, right? Oh, you're a citizen of the United States. Great. What does that mean? Does that mean every 4 years you go to the ballot box and you exercise your right to vote? I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. I see being a citizen as a privilege, as a sacrosanct right that shouldn't be abused and shouldn't be neglected. And we have that right every day, the right to call our senators and dispute the direction of their policies, the right to write a letter to our president, giving the president an opinion on what their executive order is. This dynamic, this dialogue is what built the country. Our country was not afraid when it formed. It had all the courageous people in place who had the altruism, who had the vision, who had the competence to build a nation. We owe it to Washington, George Washington, and our predecessors to do all we can to continue the spirit of this nation and hold responsibility. Because voting for a politician is not enough. Keeping them accountable is what's material and everlasting.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I wanted actually to sort of like take a step back and let's get into a little bit about you, right? So what was your original, I mean, I know you said you wanted to be an author, right? Was that something that you always wanted to do as a young child? Or was it something else?
So as a young child, I always had this drive to help, to inform. Mm-hmm. And I got that inspiration and understanding that an author has a great opportunity, has a great mechanism to reach millions of people. Mm-hmm. And only through inspiration, right, do things happen. I'll give you a simple example, just what happened right now in terms of re-electing a great new president. The way this happened was we transitioned from a place of distance, apathy, and complacency with politics to voice and action. And what propelled the change was a need in our society for that change, both an obvious need and both a learned need. And all this in totality helped make a 180-degree shift, if I don't mind saying that. But it has happened, and it is happening. And we need to keep the momentum going.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, one thing we've been seeing a lot of is this, we've been seeing protests and a lot of backlash because of the deportations that the new administration has initiated. So I'd love to hear your feedback on that. But before we do that, I'm actually going to ask the producer to pull up a video of a man in a construction hat who voices his opinion, and he's a Mexican. He's a Mexican man. So we're gonna ask the producer to pull up the video of the construction man, and that's just a public reaction of some of the recent policies that have been happening. So let's pull that up.
This is a message to all those who are protesting as a Mexican American or a Chicano, whatever, myself, the way you guys are protesting is not right. Burning the American flag, stealing a cop car, like that, all that that's all extra, bro. That's actually, you're actually making yourself look bad, making everybody look bad, making so-called the raza, or what you're fighting for, the cause, bad, bro. That shit is embarrassing, bro. Like, mejor like stay home and shit, that shit, bro. Like, honestly, like, you just, it's doing too much, bro. Like, that's not the right way, bro. I'm for the protest, but do it the right way. That's all I gotta say, man.
So that's interesting. Yeah. Well, what is your perspective on this issue and this man's perspective?
Well, first of all, I thank him for voicing his opinion and making it clear that, you know, not everybody voices support or dissent in the same way. Okay. But the overall issue with respect to this policy that President Trump, in conjunction with Tom Homan, is exercising, goes back to the foundation of this country, right? The rule of law. Okay. If there's no law, there's chaos. Law provides uniformity, conformity, right? And that is why we need to get back to this foundational element, right? And if we do that, everything else will fall into place, so long as we have competent people and people that are righteous ideals in supporting and furthering our government.
Absolutely.
You know, something that I actually liked about this video, because I actually saw this one today, you know, is the fact that even though he is for protest, he definitely said that.
You mean he's for protesting on this issue?
Well, yeah, on this issue,
or just in general. Well,
just on the issue, it's what I'm understanding. But he's still saying, don't burn the American flag. You know, doing things the correct way, because obviously we do have the right to protest, but we don't have the right to destroy property. We don't have a right. I mean, I've literally seen many of them even start fires. Why are you starting fires when we just went through a whole entire season of just going through like the worst fire season like ever?
I know,
in winter.
It's like I had a roommate who was in charge, who started just letting random people in my house, and then I became in charge, and I started making them leave, and then they set my house on fire because they're mad about leaving. Like, yeah. What?
That, right.
It does not make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one thing that I just found so interesting about all this, and I don't think we'll be able to show the video, but there's this one person that I saw that, you know, there's people that are using the Mexican flag, the lot of Latino flags, right, from all the South American countries. All of them want to stay here, but none of them are really holding the American flag with any pride. Instead, they're burning them. So it just shows you kind of where
what do
they're
they
at.
think America is?
Well, they think it's stolen ground, which is very interesting.
Aren't they stealing it, though? Like, I'm so confused.
Well, you know what? There's a thing where, you know, this used to all be Mexico right here.
So parts of it, yeah.
Well, you know, a big chunk of this, of the U.S., used to be Mexico.
And I personally, by the way, I'm fluent in 3 languages. One is Spanish.
Really?
Yo hablo español.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, claro que sí. And the reason is, first of all, it's a wonderful language.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Secondly, the Mexican people have been extremely helpful to the economy in California. Right. Mm-hmm. Strong backbone. Yeah. So let's, you know, the media, certain media, conflates these situations, right? Let's not have them have the narrative. Let's understand what the policies are of the president and what specifically he is targeting in terms of what, again, going back to the foundation of law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, what are some of the things that you could clear up for us? Because you're talking about some of the narratives that the media is currently, you know, spinning. What are some things that you could definitely say that are not true that you've seen?
You know, fundamentally, certain media do not want to evoke the American spirit. That is probably the most powerful interrupting factor that's going on by the mainstream media. They don't want people to freely and constructively participate in government or interact with government. They want to create confusion. They want to create noise, because that promise of hope and growth, that promise of prosperity, because the U.S., as President Trump correctly said, is the most powerful nation. And the way the president is interacting and dealing with his assets, the people and his team, he's trying to make this country, as he stated in one of his speeches, the golden era of the United States. Every media outlet has to voice that speech and let the people agree or disagree if America becoming part of the golden era is negative. I'm not a betting man, but 10 out of 10 people would appreciate that the United States being part of a new golden era would be prime and beneficial.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody wants to have, a golden era.
Yeah,
no matter if you're
general
on
consensus. Yeah.
right, no matter if you're left, right, media, like in the middle, you all want to have, America be good. It's beneficial to not only like yourself, but everybody around you.
Absolutely. And one thing I'm noticing is a lot of the truth is coming out. So I feel like in the last, whole spin with, even 2020, there was a lot of debate about who was going to do the right thing, which candidate was going to do the right thing, just amongst, social media conversations and arguments with my family members. But then now it's like, I feel like I am arguing strictly, literally like different policies. Like we have completely different value systems. And I don't know if that's just because I'm older or that's because a lot of this a lot of the fluff on these political issues has been pulled away, especially with the stuff that Trump is doing. And we're just seeing like exposure of these issues at their core. And now we're just arguing like it's all this nonsense has been stripped away. We've just been looking at these naked concepts, combating each other. One of them is U.S. aid. And a lot of my family was very concerned, because we're kind of expanding outside of, what's happening in the United States into what's happening in the entire world. A lot of my family members were so concerned about the U.S. aid being, basically dismembered. And, and some of them were even saying that it was going to affect Medicaid. Well, that was debunked pretty quickly by my dad. So, but, then extending on from that, it was like, well, what about all the people who were hired outside? And then one of my cousins, who's a nun, bless her soul, I love her so much. She's amazing. She was a nun for like 24 years. She said, well, not everybody in America understands real pain, because I have to see that I've seen the African babies who are starving, or who are in physical pain, even from a headache, and they don't have Tylenol. And that's something that U.S. aid helped with. So, immediately that makes me feel like a bad person for not being all supportive of U.S. aid. But I feel like, and then what they, there was a little bit of conflict, but what they ended up saying was, U.S. lives are not more important than other lives in the world. And it's like, well, of course not in the eyes of God. God views us all equally. He loves us all equally. But it is biblical that I clean my home up first before I go clean up the street. I'm not going to go feed some kid while my kid is at home starving,
Right.
And Americans are struggling. If you don't believe me, go to Skid Row. You'll see some stuff that is You'll see stuff that is just as bad as a third world country. So that's my opinion on that. But I have a video that I'd like you to respond to. So here's a perspective of a young woman. I believe she's in Uganda. And let's hear her perspective on U.S. aid.
Depended on US aid for over 60 years. And the moment the owners of the money say, let's take a 90-day pause that I audit where my money is going, suddenly the whole country goes into a frenzy. And this should be a moment of reflection for Uganda and the African continent in general. We have been asking for a very long time to be liberated from colonialism, neo-colonialism. And now that the opportunity presents itself, for some reason, we are complaining. Because let's get something straight. Often the money given to us in foreign aid is lost to corruption, misuse, depleted and overrated salaries to particular individuals, or sometimes we lose billions of money that are unaccounted for. So it only makes sense that the donor is asking for an edit, and if that means pausing the amount of money coming in, they should. And I do understand the implications of this pause because so many heavily funded healthcare projects run on US aid, but that should be a moment of reflection. This is just a 90-day pause. What would happen if the United States just said, we're not giving you money anymore? And within their rights, they can't do that because it is their money. It's high time Uganda and the African continent got themselves together and actually started looking for systems that are sustainable and not always depend on foreign aid, because we are struggling with debt. On top of that, we have constant aid, which doesn't necessarily help us to have a more independent system. Instead of writing paragraphs of why this is a bad move, we should essentially realize that, we are actually in a bad situation and we cannot always depend on aid because it can go any day.
All right, yeah. So what are your thoughts on...
Yeah, well, she's very articulate and she's very informed. So I grant her that. Look, U.S. giving aid is one of expressions of power of this country, okay? But it's also a showing of attempted solidarity with the nations, right? Aid is to help get countries back on their feet, give them some stability. But at the same time, her point is valid, right? You know, debt, right? I mean, countries with effective leaders are able and capable and should be able to effectively manage debt, because debt is, let's say, one of the most important things about a nation, right? How you balance your sheet, your budget, because that budget, if hopefully is a surplus, right, would be able to, be targeted to all the different facets of a government. So I do understand the pause. It also gives reflection to the nation, as she eloquently stated, that they have to become more self-sufficient. But that does not mean the U.S. cannot continue to express its power and show support through financial aid.
Yeah. You know what? I love what she said. I mean, as you said, she's very eloquent. I've never watched this one. Did this just come out today?
I put
you
that
just
one in there, yeah.
Nice. No, I think I love what she said because it's very interesting. Like, when people are begging for themselves to be liberated and take a step back, once that happens, they're like, where's my money? So I think that's very interesting, but that kind of goes with the whole entire money thing. I know that everybody was saying that financial aid was going to get stopped here in the U.S. and not, you said was Medicaid, right?
No, it's not associated with USA.
No, right. But yeah, there was that. And then, it's very interesting because I've had a lot of stuff like that where people are sending me, we're going to lose aid here in the U.S. for this and that. My college, the chancellor for their college, and, sent out multiple emails saying, nothing's going to be affected, guys. You're all fine.
Oh, good. I thought there was going to be some more fear-mongering.
No, he said, you're all fine, guys. And then, multiple emails, and I'm like, yeah, just still got my financial aid still here. It's all good. But it's funny how the U.S. media has been spinning everything around.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've all noticed that.
Yeah. No, it's like, even I'll get things from my family members, and it's just like, you guys are just watching media and just consuming everything and then regurgitating it to me, saying that I'm wrong.
That's a very, very good point.
And
that's
it's
and to your point, right? Consumption,
mm-hmm.
right? Without questioning.
Right.
If there was an arm of journalism in this country, that should be propped up. Mm. And I'm talking about journalism. I'm not talking about agenda.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about propaganda. I'm talking about journalism.
Yeah.
A concept that seems to be, I'll be choosy with my words, but journalism has to be what it purports to be. Mm-hmm. If an institution is broadcasting news, let's use the acronym North, East, West, South, then report North, East, West, South. Mm-hmm. And let us decide what the conclusion is. Let us make the judgment.
Yeah. You know what? What are some of for us, I think it's pretty hard to see what news medias are actually telling us the truth, or at least trying to give an unbiased opinion as much as you can. Where do you consume your media, or how do you? Do you go search up different media outlets on both left and right, or do you go to a specific one? How do you, I guess, find information?
Yeah, we have to learn to be more proactive in terms of how we acquire information.
Right.
Right. We have no excuse in today's day and age to have multiple conduits of information and for us to go digging. I think that's critical. And because we cannot rely blindly on a few sources because they're easily accessible or because they're popular or because this is what our friends are watching, right? We have to be our own investigative journalist. Now, that might sound like a daunting task, but the wisest of us are the ones that do that, in my opinion, because we are committing ourselves not to base conclusions, but we're actually taking the initiative and trying to cross-reference different sources. I mean, as an attorney, you know, we're very particular in our work. We have to be very, you know, comprehensive. We have to be correct. We have to be objective on certain things, right? Apply that to learning about the news. Yeah. I remember I have to go through this training that I did for a leadership sort of camp, you could say. It was for a week, and every single day we had a quiz on the news. Every morning, it was the first thing we did was a quiz, and I remember we were given 3 media sources. And they didn't tell us what the questions were, but we had to scan all of the media sources out of the 3 of them. One was I think probably CNN, another one was Fox, or was it Daily Wire? I can't remember. Then one was the BBC. So BBC was the one that was in the middle. And every single morning we had to scan every single one of them and then give a report and then hopefully we get all the answers right. But it was something that, you know, it is a lot. You know, you'd have to say to go every morning, go search through the news, each one of them, and then have to, you know, come up with a conclusion after. It is a lot of work, but I definitely recommend, like you said, it's very important to do. You have to be sort of like that investigative journalist, because if you don't, you sometimes
get consumed by the fake news.
Yes,
the fake news media,
fake news. And you'll be like everyone else that I've been currently been sending me stuff. Yeah.
You know, coming back, okay, so we've talked about the United States, we talked about the entire world. Let's go back to Los Angeles. I'd love to hear your feedback on an interview that we did in DC with Patrick Bet-David. So let's pull that up. It's about 2 minutes.
He's been pretty popular lately.
But we asked him about Los Angeles. So, all right, we're ready for that.
When it comes out.
They're figuring it out.
It's okay. Well, you know, in DC, we had the amazing privilege of being able to grab an interview with Patrick Bet-David.
What got you really involved with Turning Point USA?
Charlie's the real deal. He's legit. What he says, he really believes in. He has a very unique method of delivery. He's not afraid of debates. He stands up for the right values, and you can see it in his eyes, in his mannerisms, in his conviction. And I think this organization is going to be formidable for decades to come.
Absolutely. Yeah. So currently, what are you seeing, Gen Z? What are your predictions for them? Are they going to turn more conservative?
I think so. Because of what we saw as a case study with Charlie Kirk on TikTok, where all of a sudden he's got 5 million followers, 40 million views, 42 million views. So absolutely. I mean, my kids are 12 and 11. And the level of interest they have in this type of content is there. So, yes, I think so. I think it's going to be a very different next 20, 30, 40 years. And we're excited to see what you guys are going to be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we are LA-based, actually. So we're seeing a lot of damage in the West Coast. Do you have any ideas of what's going to happen with, you know, Los Angeles and those kind of areas?
I think the people who are Hollywood elites are not going anywhere. I think they're going to stay put. And I think Newsom and his folks are going to help out the Hollywood elites because that's the image that you have to protect. I think the 37-year-old, which is the average age of somebody living in L.A. who has a wife, a husband, maybe a kid or 2 or 3rd on the way, they're thinking about schooling, they're thinking about buying a house, they're getting the hell out of California, or at least thinking about it. Maybe Nevada, maybe Texas, maybe Tennessee, maybe Florida.
Yep, that's right. And what's your advice to Gen Z?
Read the right books. Entertain debates. Don't jump to conclusion without doing your own due diligence, and you should have a fighting chance in life.
Amazing. What's one of the books?
What's one of the
books?
Books? Anything you can read on Thomas Sowell, you're going to be fine.
Perfect.
Anything on Thomas Sowell.
Well, thank you so much,
Anytime.
sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fun interview to do. We had to like kind of jump into it
Right.
in there to get that one.
But, you know, what he said was brief, but kind of unpacking the thing that he said of the average 37-year-old who has a family wants to get the heck out of Los Angeles. If we would have had more time, we would have loved to unpack that more with him. But what's your perspective?
Well, look, one of the reasons why Los Angeles or people come to California is notably the weather, right?
Right.
And that's definitely a plus. What distracts or now is ripping people away from California are the high taxes that are causing the businesses to leave.
Right.
And the fire situation doesn't help at all. No. So that all goes back to leadership. We need leaders, mayors, governors that are dedicated to the cause that they swore an oath to, right? I'll give you a simple example, right? So as a lawyer, we're supposed to zealously advocate on behalf of our clients, okay? And that's what I do, okay? I zealously advocate. So let's translate that to a representative with a lot of power and opportunity, like the mayor, like the governor, which is like a president of a state, right? These individuals, Governor Newsom, Mayor Bass, they can simply do a self-assessment daily. Am I zealously or diligently advocating on the behalf of my constituents, not client, obviously swapping out the word client? Are they doing that? And if there's any degree in pause in their mind, or there's any laboring coming to a cognizable response, start filling the gaps, because we deserve better. California is the golden state, right? And not to take a phrase from our great president in terms of paraphrasing, but we have to make California golden again.
What are some of your ideas of how we can do that?
First of all, it's who we vote into office, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the voting technique or the voting procedure shouldn't be the day of. It should be something that you take your time, because these are very critical decisions we're making, but we don't sometimes understand how weighty they are, because this decision will carry through many policies that will affect our safety, our security, our well-being, our health, our gas prices. I mean, food prices. I could keep going on and on. So it's a consequential thing. So knowing the candidate, trusting the candidate, and seeing if they have the capability, number one, and genuine desire to lead. Okay, those are the two things: capability and genuine desire. If those two things are in lockstep, we'll be in a better position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Now, sort of going into like what you're currently doing is you're an appointed LA commissioner, right? So
LA County Commissioner.
LA County Commissioner.
Yes.
What does that mean? I know a lot of people hear these terms in office, and sometimes they'll be like, "Okay, that's amazing," but what goes behind that?
Yeah. So first of all, it's an appointed position, not an elected position. But I was appointed by my county supervisor in the capacity of the Local Governmental Services Commission, which is the commission that I'm on as part of LA County. We provide and make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors regarding where funding and priorities should go regarding the many services that are given by LA County, right? For transportation, for education, for healthcare, for labor issues as well.
Are you allowed to give us like an example of something that you've been able to give a recommendation on?
Yeah, fair enough. So we had a speaker come out and speak about adoption for pets and how they, by the way, they do a very tough job, because it's not just housing pets. It's about taking care of the pets. It's about finding a right caretaker for the pets. It's about having the right caretakers on site to take care of the pets. And then it's like, well, who gets priority on where these pets go, right? And animals, as I'm sure you guys know, are amazing. Dogs are amazing. Some people like cats. So, well, I love them both. Let's be. I don't hate, so I love. So, in other words, so based upon their need, we make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors that their priority is funding, or their priority is staffing, or the provider is location placement, right? So those are, that's just one small example.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think, it's very important to know what these things are, especially as our generation that is currently coming into, being adults. I think that, there's still some of us that are still in high school, but a lot of us are currently now in jobs and for finally working. And it's important, I think, and this is why I always advocate for young people to get involved young. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that's what we advocate for, is because being able to understand how the world around us works is so important. And if you understand it sooner, it'll be especially better for the long run. And that actually is sort of with your point when you were saying, voting shouldn't be the day of. It should be, and you should already know prior who you're going to be voting for, which is what you said. And I definitely agree. And that's something that I always advocate for people. And you listener, know who you're voting for, and that's what I always do.
It's so easy now.
It's so
too.
easy
Come on,
too.
we have AI. You could
just go up to the person and ask them. That's what I always like to go up to the person and go ask them. If you can, go ask them. If not, go to a town hall meeting, watch a few interviews.
Sure.
And I think that when I went to go vote this past year, I already knew when I was at the voting. It's on the little screen that you press.
Right.
I already knew practically almost every single person I was voting for, and a lot of them I knew face to face personally. And I think that's the amazing thing about being able to have this opportunity that we've had.
Yeah, but me and you just got up and went out there.
Yeah,
that was what we. But I mean, for those of you who don't have time, we do have access now to you could use an AI, put in a politician's
she's a big AI.
AI is the thing. AI is the trend.
Put in a politician's website and say summarize this in one sentence or two sentences. You got pretty much all you need to know. So it's
what do you think about AI?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, it's a really big one.
It's a generalized one.
Yeah.
Summarize it in one sentence.
You're putting me to task. I like a challenge. So AI should complement, not substitute.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what I've been saying. Yes. She's like, yes. Exactly. It's gonna speed up. It's gonna speed us up. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I have a lot of issues.
Can you say that again? Oh, sorry. Wait.
Sure. AI. I'll make it even briefer. AI should complement, not substitute.
Complement, not substitute. Yes.
Yeah.
That was really well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
No, it's amazing. I just don't. I mean, AI is wonderful, and I love it so much. It's so helpful. It really is. But I think that it also just it should complement. Yeah, and it shouldn't substitute. But yeah, I think that it's been doing a lot of substituting though. Currently, I don't know. I think that it's also not been helpful for allowing our brains to actually work.
I think it's freed me up to do more stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of people college students, it takes all of the creativity out of doing things. And you're no longer seeing people to actually have to sit there and actually use your creative side of your mind to come up with something original. Instead you have to have the bot do it for you.
I think there's going to be an entire reform of education in general. It's going to have to be. I mean, otherwise it's just a joke. The AI, come on, this is the situation we're in. Student uses AI to write a paper.
Right.
Teacher uses AI detecting AI
to
figure out which students are using the AI.
That thing doesn't work correctly.
No, but there are ones that do, because they send emails out that say, we're using AI detecting AI to make sure that you're not using AI. And then they use AI detecting AI to outsmart that detection.
So all my teachers use this one program, right?
It's ridiculous.
That detects AI for them, right?
Joke.
But the thing is that it doesn't, it always mixes up, citations with AI stuff. And it annoys me because like my AI reports will come back and they'll be like, oh, you got like 50% plagiarized. I'm like, no, I didn't.
So you got falsely accused of using AI. See, it's not going to last.
not foolproof.
This entire
No, it's not.
education system is going to...
Which actually kind of like leads us to another hot topic that has been going on for a couple years now. Education, you know?
stuff that Trump's doing. It's like the past couple of days. You heard about that stuff?
Of what stuff?
You've heard about it, right?
He's been
With
very
education?
busy, especially and including
It's like
education.
he's taking a
What has he
sledgehammer
done?
to
What
it.
has he done to education? Because like I've heard of
Okay.
everything else.
Let me ask Croc, and I can get you the exact answer. Because just
We're
in
gonna
case,
use the
I
AI.
I just heard about it today, so I'm too. Okay, wait, I got it. Okay,
Well, you know, while she's searching that up, what is your current sense? Because you mentioned earlier common sense, right? I think that's something that we've been hearing these last couple of days is the word common sense being thrown around. Like we're currently going back to what's common sense. But
Sure.
I think it's very interesting is the education as well, you know, and I guess I don't know. Are you seeing like more movement towards making education, I guess, more common sense nowadays, or where do you think it's going to go? Because this is a very important topic for our future generations.
100%. I mean, I can tell you that there should be, without getting into too much detail,
Right.
there should be some core subjects in school, like credit.
Right.
I mean, credit is exceptionally important to our lives. There's no credit schooling. There's no elective on credit, how to improve your credit score, why
Right.
credit is important. I mean, just a small example, right? But, you know, these are things, the educational curriculum has to be things that build up a society, not confuse them or not direct them in a certain narrative or angle, right? And I credit the president for being so proactive in all facets or many facets of American life. But this is a very, very important one because this is building the ideas, the receptiveness, and dare I say, the drive of the next generation of Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so, you know, I've been out there in the protests for parents who have, you know, just, they're not very happy with how the education system is going, especially when trying to, I guess you could say, confuse children. But the whole entire different look at it is the fact that, you know, California actually rates like very low when it comes to test scores and just being able to basic read and do math, which is not looking very great for the country and specifically for California. And, you know, for people who, this is kind of like what we were talking about earlier, some of the Daily Wire people are kind of like saying, just get out of California, just don't care about it. But California, I believe personally, I don't know if you do, is like a sounding board for the entire U.S., in the entire country, and that whatever happens here will then spread throughout the country. We're sort of like a testing ground, you could say sometimes. But I don't know how you think about California, and like it's
So California, not just based upon its diversity, it being, I believe, the 5th largest economy in the world. I don't know where its stance is right now.
Yeah.
So it has a huge responsibility. It drives a lot of people in for tourism, for you know. But right now, you know, it's not going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's true.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I believe too. Are you able to find anything?
I found it. Okay.
She found it.
AI cites itself with sources.
Okay, I
So
like
by the
that.
way,
Okay.
so Donald Trump tweeted, "Congratulations to Tennessee legislators who are working hard to pass school choice this week, which I totally support. We will very soon be sending education back to the states where it belongs. It is our goal to bring education in the United States to the highest level, one that it has never attained before. Make America great again."
Sending back to the States.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like the CEO Act. And then he also put a freeze on all federal grants.
Right. Well,
which a lot
another
of people are
thing
freaking
is,
out about.
Yeah, that's a good shift because it gives the states their autonomy to.
right, which is another thing with he did with well, actually he didn't, but I guess other people did. But same thing with sending back abortion to the states.
I love
so
that.
that's the same thing that we're seeing with President Trump, which is very interesting because I think that there's some conservatives that would like Trump to just handle everything at the federal level, at the country, and
But he's playing chess.
Well, that's very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, actually, he is.
So
we've seen that with the tariffs, but yes, he's putting everything back to the states, which I guess is how it's constitutionally supposed to be. So
you said that it'll give the states better structure to freeze the federal grants. How so?
No, I didn't go that far. I just basically said they have more autonomy on how to guide their curriculum.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right.
Okay.
So if you have a top-down measure on education, right, it doesn't really allow for the particulars of a state to be important, right? California, like for example, 5th largest economy in the world. Are we going to tailor our curriculum to, get more economy boosted individuals or people that are going to help our economy, more entrepreneurs, right? Unfortunately, the taxes are kicking out entrepreneurs indirectly here. But I think that's the best measure.
Yeah. Well, so, we love to inspire here at 180 Shift. So I wanted to pull up a few photos of Ellie. One, yes, it's inspiring time because I just got a signal that we got to wrap up. Okay. There's one. Aw, look at you.
That's at DC, guys. That's at DC.
And then we had another one too. Where's the other one? Yep, that's someone who. I'm sorry. I guess I don't know who that is. Who is that?
I have Boba in my mouth. 1 second. We interviewed him I interviewed him at AmFest, but he's on...
At AmFest, okay.
Yeah, he's on Patrick Bet-David's show.
That's right, okay.
So if you don't know him, just go onto his, Patrick Bet-David's, entire thing, and you'll be able to see him. He's one of the more left-leaning guys, but he's currently independent. Super cool. Oh, that's right. Wait.
And okay, we're jumping off to...
This is an entirely different thing. We're jumping to craziness of Hollywood.
Entirely different thing. Okay, wait. We'll jump to that next thing, but I just wanted to wrap up my point. So, yeah, we love to inspire at 180 Shift, and, you got to meet Tulsi Gabbard, which was really inspiring for me. So, actually, can we pull up the Tulsi Gabbard video that we've seen, because with all this... all the confirmations that have been happening. Let's watch that video. And I'd love to hear your feedback on that one, too.
Full to President Trump for his trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you." For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice, and yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this: this must end. President Trump's re-election is a clear mandate from the American people to break this cycle of failure, end the weaponization and politicization of the intelligence community, and begin to restore trust in those who've been charged with the critical task of securing our nation. If confirmed,
Yeah, and then she goes on to, if confirmed...
and politicization of...
Oh, this is a bad
This
edit.
must end.
Yes, this must end. That's what, that's so basically... So what's your opinion on that? Because she discusses a lot of different things there.
Yeah, she brings up a lot of important points. I mean, the agency arms that we have, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, right?
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking about AI complementing and, supporting, our abilities and our reach. That should be the purpose of these intelligence agencies, to enhance rather than deviate from the American purpose, right? We have three branches of government, and we will always have that. And the reason why we have those three branches is for oversight and balance, right?
Yes.
So agencies that are, let's say, I wouldn't use the word extraneous. I would use the word, like I said, complementary, can be used very effectively and very powerfully to maximize each branch of government's work, depending upon where that intelligence is going, right? Usually FBI is for, prosecutions, CIA is more for international reach. So again, if used properly and correctly, they will achieve their optimum goal. So
yeah. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I love Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes, I know, me too.
Yeah,
I've met her. Yeah, she's very nice.
Yeah, she is really nice. Actually, out of all the people that Trump has put forth to be confirmed, she was actually one of the only ones that, out of all of the people that I know from the left side, who have actually liked her, actually favored her more than the other people.
Like she was a Democrat, right?
Well, yeah, she was a Democrat, but she's also very I like her stuff. She's really good.
Yeah, she is.
I like her. Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up tonight's show, we wanted to dive into a bit of what's happening in LA culture. So we just had the Grammys.
Yeah,
that's why those photos are up there.
But, there was. Yeah.
So this is who's leading culture. We got Cardi B in the most appropriate thing she's ever been in. And scroll down, we got Taylor Swift. Yeah. I don't so the fashion, it's like these kind of events, I feel like they low-key lead.
Sabrina Carpenter's.
Yeah.
I like that one.
It's like they low-key lead, a lot of just trends in amongst younger generations, of what looks good, what's cool,
Yeah, but okay. So most of them you mentioned were you mentioned the indecency in some of the dresses. Well, you know what? It's actually no surprise we had that scandal with
Ye
with Kanye. Whatever you wanted. I don't care. It's fine.
It's Ye.
I don't care. It's Kanye. Okay.
It's Ye.
Now both of you hadn't heard about this. I know you didn't hear about this prior to coming on the podcast. I just told you,
and then scandalous.
Tara, I barely just told you about this.
I didn't even want to see a photo. I was like,
don't even
need to put that in my
yeah. But most
brain.
people have been talking about this. But there was a little scandal with Kanye and his wife, where she just wore a sheer dress, like nothing, and
basically
then,
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she got kicked out.
And then she got kicked out with Kanye. Which is
what do you think is he just like trying to like say like do you think that he's just like going to such a far level, or do you just I know a lot of people just
think he's crazy.
Yeah, that's what
I think he's crazy.
He's definitely outspoken, and he takes the stage if and when he wants to.
Yeah.
And that was how he took the stage that day. He was like, I hate the Grammys and I want to be kicked out.
No, but it was like, okay. This also, like, I think I was discussing with Artin prior when you were over there.
Oh, you were discussing?
I was discussing this this entire thing, and I was saying this is kind of just showing you how our society is currently right now.
Yeah?
Because if people are willing to do that, which is crazy, it just shows you where we're heading and what direction. Well, particularly Hollywood, which isn't to be honest, it wasn't a surprise to me to hear that they did that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's not a surprise.
I was kind of surprised that Cardi B had that much clothes on because she usually doesn't. So that was kind of a nice surprise. But anyway, so but yeah, that pretty much wraps us up for tonight.
We've covered up various different topics today.
But yeah, with a final question.
Yes.
Your final question.
My final question that I always ask. Yes. So every guest that we have on our podcast, we ask this one question, and that is, if you have any advice for Gen Z, it could be anything you'd like, but whatever is your best piece of advice.
Don't be shy to speak up your mind, because dialogue and interaction are how society moves forward, right? We can't be shy. We can't be to a situation where I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm saying just express yourself. Try to figure out how you can bring people to the same level playing field. And most importantly, inspire them to be part of the fabric of the U.S. Not just a bystander, but a participant.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Amen to that, yeah.
Do you have any social media that you'd like to shout out?
Or website?
Yeah. So I'm on Twitter at USA Artin Sodaify. So that's the @ symbol, capital USA, ARTIN, capital A, and Sodaify, capital SODAIFY. So at USA Artin Sodaify.
Wonderful. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you so much.
If you guys want to hear more, you can just go to his Twitter, right?
Absolutely.
Or it's actually X, but.
And for us, you can visit us on all our social medias, and you can find all of those at 180shift.org.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Catch you next time. Bye.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Artin. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
What did you think?
I love the experience.
Yay!
Yeah.